The Swedes haven't won a gold medal at the World Junior since 1981. For the Russians, it goes back to 2003. One of those two teams will get a chance to end that drought in the gold medal game on Wednesday. It's Sweden against Russia in the first of two semifinals on this Monday at the 2011 World Junior Hockey Championship. Starting goalies are brought to you by the all-new Chevrolet Cruze. Don't just drive, cruise. And for Russia, it's Dmitry Shikin, who stopped 34 of 37 shots against the Finns in their quarterfinal win last night. He plays for the St. Petersburg Juniors in the Russian Junior League. And for Sweden, it is Ottawa Senators' second-round pick, Robin Lehner, who plays for Binghamton in the American Hockey League. He allowed 5 goals on 34 shots in his last start against Canada. He stopped all 30 shots in a 2-0 shutout win against the Russians in the round robin. The referees are Pat Smith from Canada. That's him. And the other referee is George Yakubov from Germany. Sweden will be the home team. After running a 4-0 mark in the preliminary round, the Russians open this tournament with a pair of losses to Canada and then Sweden, but have won 3 straight coming off a 4-3 overtime win last night in the quarters over the Finns.
This could be a track meet today. James and Bob are just talking about the potential fear factor and fatigue factor for the Russians. It's almost like they won their gold medal last night, winning against Finland in overtime. But if this becomes a track meet, that really favors Sweden, I believe, Gord.
Yarncroc faces off against Savchenko for Russia, and we're underway. Nemeth sends that puck across. And at the point, the pass intercepted. Dmitry Orlov's shot was blocked. And now Orlov back to pick it up. Orlov second in points among defensemen to Canada's Ryan Ellis. Tarasenko knocks it down, and Vladimir Tarasenko plays it down to the Swedish zone. Here's Nemeth with it. Puck skipped off his stick. Savchenko sends it in front. Now another chance at the sign of the goal. Kалинин whacks at it and laid her down. So good early pressure here by the Russians. As Sergei Kalinin spins back. No relation to former Buffalo Sabre. Kалinin is a very common name in Russia.
Dmitry Kалinin, I believe, is back playing in the Russian League.
He is playing in the KHL. Yeah. Maxim Kitson flips at that puck. And it squirts loose in the corner. Lundstrom plays in there for Carl Klingberg. Carl and John Klingberg, brothers who are playing on the Swedish national team. And here is John Klingberg with it, the younger of the two. Flips it down in the Russian zone. Georgi Bergikov back to pick it up. Verchensky lost the puck. Anton Lander with it. And Lander stripped of it by the Verchensky. Fredrik Stierman, number 2, sent it in for the Swedes. Stierman and Nemeth have not been on the ice for an even strength goal against in this tournament for Sweden.
And this is the best player for the Russians right now when you think about it. Kuznetsov down low in the forecheck, and it's power on power board. Top lines going against one another.
And Adam Larsson, number 5, out there for an early shift for the Swedes. Sent that ahead. And now a chance for Max Freeberg. Freeberg loose behind the Russian goal. Tries to walk out in front. Freeberg back with it. Spins and dives in the corner for Saline. Patrick Saline tried to center it. He was battling down there with Voronin. And now Saline wrap around. Whacks away at it. No goal as Dmitry Shikin steps out the left pad and makes the stop.
Well, that's a real good job down low by Max Freeberg. Battling along with Patrick Saline. The strength of the Swedish players is something you're really going to be impressed with, especially when they come off the boards. And Patrick Saline is not overly large at 5'11", 170 pounds, but he's really strong on his feet, as is Max Freeberg, who's 5'10", 190. They're not really tall, but they're extremely strong.
Thornburg has his shot blocked, and Stanislav Bacharov sends it down. Panarin lays it back. And it's laid right back in by Maxim Ignatovic. Panarin looking for it. And it's scooped up by Johan Sundstrom. Sundstrom, a draft-eligible player for the Swedes. Being harassed there by Panarin. And now moved ahead and jumping into the rush is Golubov for the Russians. Hammered that shot wide. And swinging back is Dahlbeck with it for Stierman.
The Russians have already run 4 lines through this first 3 minutes of the game. That's something they're going to have to do. James and Bob, as you talked about, talking about the potential fatigue factor. That's why they want to get as many legs as possible involved.
Calle Jarnkrok, the Detroit draft pick, with a long shot. And Shikin hangs on to that as Valeria Bragina looks on for the Russian bench.
An assistant coach in 2005 in Grand Forks, where they won a silver medal. He played 3 years for Moscow Spartak. He also coached in Denmark. And before this was actually an official tournament, he played in 1975 in Winnipeg and 1976 in Finland in the World Junior.
Draw was won back to Larson. Long wrist shot, hit a leg in front. There's some concern about whether or not Adam Larson would play much of this game, but so far taking a regular shift. Number 5 on defense for Sweden, projected to be a top pick for next summer's NHL entry draft. Now the Russians bring it back the other way. Tarasenko. Pass is dropped back, and Urachev takes the return pass from Orlov. Urachev, long lead pass. Tarasenko waves at it, can't make contact. That'll be icing against the Russians.
And for Roger Ronberg, he's also been an assistant here the last 5 years with Team Sweden. He won a silver in 08 and 09. 08 in Pardubice, where they lost to Canada in overtime, and a Matt Halischuk goal. And 09 in the great finish in Ottawa for Team Canada. He's taken over for Per Martz, who's now going to coach the national team of Sweden.
And Martz is here watching this World Junior Championship. There's a shot by Carl Klingberg off the pad of Shikin. Tarasenko brings it ahead for Russia. There's not much doing on that rush as Tim Eriksson reached out and knocked that away. And now some pushing and shoving as Kuznetsov is in there with Eriksson. Evgeny Kuznetsov, the Washington Capitals' first-round pick. You saw his frustration in our opening video. The first 55 minutes of the game, Pierre, he was basically a non-factor.
It was unbelievable. We had run a video replay of him just not competing throughout most of the game. He must have heard about it because then he took charge of the game. He was spectacular.
And you've got to think that in Washington today, there's lots of wagering going on between the Russians and Swedes, and then later on the Canadians and Americans. Lots of all 4 countries represented in their dressing room.
Ovechkin, Backstrom, Semin, Varlamov, Russians. I wonder when Backstrom's picking the Swede, along with Johansson.
2 great former World Junior players for the Swedes. Not that Ovechkin was bad either.
No, but I feel bad. Remember when we saw Backstrom playing in Leksand? He was playing as a 3rd and 4th line player. The coach just wouldn't put him on the ice. It was so frustrating for him.
Kitson tries to drop it back. Kuznetsov looking for it. And Kitson had that taken away, chipped ahead by Freeberg. And Freeberg had that knocked away. Kitson back the other way. He spins away as the Russians are changing. There's the Swedish Elite League. There's the Allsvenskan. And then there's the First Division. That's where Freeberg plays, basically in the 3rd league in Sweden. And he bursts onto the scene here as a member of the junior team. Now dashing in is Voronin for the Russians. Plays it back. And a long shot by Berezin goes wide. Kept it at the point for the moment by Sergeyev. Lays it down. Bernasov sends that in front, and the puck winds up with a stick of Raquel. Raquel taken down, and there's no penalty on the play. Bernasov back with it for the Russians. John Klingberg back to the Swedes. Looks ahead to Raquel, who plays for Plymouth of the Ontario Hockey League. Yarncroc walks in. Kalle Yarncroc with a shot goes just high and wide. Yarncroc is a 2nd-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings, who is the highest-scoring junior-age player in the Swedish Elite League.
He doesn't pass up shots. He's not a playmaker. He's a gunner. He really is. He reminds you a lot of Matthias Tedendi.
And this is Yarncroc with it. Plays it across to Johan Larsson walking in. Larsson pulls his way in front. The puck rolling down in front. Chicken can't grab it. And it's still free. Jesper Fast with it. And Fast drops it back. In comes Larsson. Adam Larsson battling down low. Ignatovic to the line, and Eriksson can't hold it. Tim Eriksson, the son of longtime former New York Ranger Jan Eriksson, was actually born in the New York area when his dad was playing for the Rangers. Great defensive player for New York over the years. And a long shot there by Oscar Lindberg, handled easily. Back at the line, Nemeth tries to play that ahead. Now Panarin sends it across, and Tarasenko has it with Savchenko. Tarasenko in, shoots, save made, and Leonard will hang on. 13:46 to go here in the first period. Still no score. There is Swedish goaltender Robin Lehner, who made his NHL debut in October in Montreal under somewhat unusual circumstances. Brian Elliott of the Sens broke a skate plate walking out to start the 3rd period, and Lehner had to come on and play.
Yes.
Tarasenko Works it around, Leonard down, backhand shot. Leonard never saw the rebound. It squirted down the corner. Now Savchenko with it. He tries a shot. Eriksson got in the way of that. Good pressure by the Russians in the early going. The Swedes out shooting from 5-2 though. Here's Tarasenko, shoots, scores! Banks it in, and the Russians take the lead.
That's Tarasenko's third goal of this tournament. He's had 17 shots on goal. That's his 18th. But what I like, Gord, is the fact that they're dominating below the icing line. That's just a bad turnover by Tim Eriksson. The play's going to stay alive. And watch Tarasenko just down low, very crafty, banking it off the blocker of Robin Leonard to make it 1-0 Russia. And we talk about the fatigue factor. How about the fact that the Swedes look so tentative? We have yet to see the Swedes look so tentative. And that's the first time in this tournament that Russia's had a lead over Sweden. They lost the first game 2-0, but they played for the better part of the last 40 minutes as a Super Bowl favorite. I'm talking about the Russians.
Tarasenko plays for Novosibirsk in the KHL. His dad Andre's the coach there. And he's actually one of the few Russian players who's a regular in the KHL. A lot of these Russians are in that league, but they get very limited ice time. Clean battling for it, so the Swedes, who are undefeated, now find themselves trailing. A long drive by Stearman. And easily there as Stearman was sent flying. And there is Tarasenko, the captain of this Russian team.
6 feet, 172 pounds. See him, he's just not going to give up. And he's so smart, he's so aware. He's had kind of a dormant tournament. He hasn't been great, but you see him go around Nemeth and put it right off of the blocker and the right hip of Robin Leonard.
And we said that Nemeth had not been on the ice for an even strength goal against. There's one in the semifinal.
That's real good news for the St. Louis Blues who drafted Tarasenko in the first round. They've been waiting for him to percolate this tournament. He has.
Down to Verchinsky, trying to feed out in front of Verchinsky with a shot bouncing down in front, knocked away by Larson. Adam Larson ahead for Jesper Fast. 3-on-2 for the Swedes. Fast centers it. Jarnkrok, shot saved by Shigan. Oh, what a save with the rebound! And Fast fires again. Johan Larson with a great chance on the rebound, and Dmitry Shigan shuts him down.
Dmitry Shigan just spectacular during that sequence, but this is more like the Swedish team we're used to seeing. Transition, jumping a lot of bodies into the rush, and then one save, two saves, and maybe even a third save, unless that got blocked by the defense out front. Shigan stays with the puck. He knows he's giving up a juicy rebound. He has to battle and come across and stop a second chance.
Here's a centering pass for Wanstrom, goes astray, and now knocked in by Nemeth. Panarin plays that rink wide. But Charov tries to play it ahead. Panarin waved at it, and Nemeth steps up. Patrick Nemeth. Stick to that puck. Now Wanstrom reaching for it, but can't hold the zone. He got spun around. And Bacharov plays it in. Got it by Golubov, but now Bacharov knocks it in for Panarin. Back to Bacharov. Great jump here for the Russians in the early going. And Wanstrom plays it out rink wide. Oscar Lindberg crunched there by Nikita Zaitsev, who dressed but did not play in the game last night against the Finns. He's been bothered by an injury. But Zaitsev, who's a returning player from last year, is back out there now for the Russians.
There are a lot of NHL teams here to watch Zaitsev. Both Chicago, Philadelphia have really paid attention to him, as have the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Plays offside at the Russian line. And of course, later on today, it will be Canada against the United States. The Americans using the Buffalo Sabres dressing room. That's on one side of the hall. Make a quick left, and there's the Canadian dressing room. You got to think they can hear each other back and forth, and of course they'll walk out to the ice together and face off tonight in a rematch of that classic gold medal encounter a year ago in Saskatoon. And the U.S. played twice last year. Canada won the round-robin game in a shootout. Americans in OT on the goal by John Carlson of the Washington Capitals, another guy who might have some wagering to do today.
Boy, was he ever good in the Winter Classic, John Carlson. He and Carl Eisner playing head-to-head against Sidney Crosby, Pascal Dupuis, and Chris Kunitz.
Orlov sends it ahead. Balawiski with a shot. He ripped that wide. And Tornberg back with it. He goes rink wide for Fast. Jesper Fast busting in. Here he comes. Fast in on Chicken, who poke checks him and makes the stop. Chicken may not be stylish, but so far he hasn't allowed a goal. And now Stearman with a long shot. Battles down there with Johan Larsson. Tarasenko lifts it across. Gulachev. Up for Kitson, who lost the puck to Yarncroc. Flips that ahead for Fast. He's stripped of it. And now a chance for Kuznetsov. Evgeny Kuznetsov busting in. Wide shot from a sharp angle. Rolls back and Kalinin's flips that ahead. Johan Larsson. His pass went off a skate. And then Lander turns it over to Kalinin. Kalinin a long shot. That's tipped wide. Kuznetsov whacks at it. And Kuznetsov gets it back. Tries to feed that in front. And the Swedes getting disorganized here. Now Lander back with it. One hand on his stick. Turn it over again. And here's Kalinin with it. Working on Adam Larsson. And Eriksson picks up the loose puck.
This is not the same Swedish team we saw play against Canada and win in a shootout.
Tim Eriksson fires it in for the Swedes. The puck bounces down to Kuznetsov. Quickly ahead he goes for Kitson. Maxim Kitson comes walking in, feeds it across, and a drive from Zavrachenski hammered that. And Leonard got just a piece of that.
Holy mackerel, what a shot.
Now Celine comes in for the Swedes. Poke check by Sergeyev. Celine gets it back. And Sergeyev stays with it. Freeberg back for Dahlbeck. That pass goes off a leg. Lindbergh. Celine. Freeberg with a shot. Stopped by Schick, and the rebound was blocked as Lindbergh got a shot away. And now the puck chipped up by Bertosov. And Nemeth goes back. Icing's waved off. Shots are 11-3 now, Sweden. Zaitsev lets Wanström get by. And Wanström tries to feed it back, and quickly ahead is Bacharov. Feeds that down as the Russians are changing. Lead pass for Carl Klingberg. He's got Wanström with him. Klingberg down in the corner. Ignatovic takes him out, but Klingberg back on it. The referee fell. Now John Klingberg feeds it down in front. Waiting for it there was Dennis Golubov, who plays it out for the Russians. Slow change for the Russians. John Klingberg brings it ahead. Ignatovic can't handle it. John Klingberg back with it. Now swinging back for the Russians is Panarin. And that clearing attempt went off a stick and out of play.
Well, Dmitry Shikin against Jesper Fast. This is some kind of save. Now, this is, again, more like the Swedish team attacking with pace. What a save. Active stick, great legs. And here's the next one off Max Freeberg with the right pad. He's really fighting the puck, but he's making some second saves that are really nice.
We saw him last night in the game against the Finns do a virtual cartwheel in the crease after being bumped.
That was embellishment.
Tarasenko with it. Lays the puck ahead. Balowiecki's pass for Savchenko missed. And he'll bang it down to the Swedish zone. 7:45 to go in the first period. Russia leads 1-0. Nemeth steps up, being watched by Balowiecki. Plays it across to Eriksson. Tim Eriksson, a Calgary first-round pick 2 years ago.
We were talking about his father, Jan. His father, Jan, was one of the better defensive forwards in the National Hockey League for about a 10-year period. He was really, really good.
Lanner leaves it back for Nemeth, who plays for AIK Stockholm in the Swedish Elite League, which this year is back in the Elite League for the first time in 10 years. Financial problems forced that once great franchise all the way down to the Swedish First Division at one point. Russia leads 1-0.
They lost 6-3 to Canada in Game 1. They lost 2-0 to Sweden in Game 2. And everybody in Russia was saying, we picked the wrong guys. We got a bad team. These guys are a disgrace. Well, they've done pretty well since, haven't they, Gord?
The Russians brought 5 Canadian Hockey League players to their training camp. 4 of them were skaters. They were all cut. The only CHL player they kept was goaltender Igor Bobkov. Kuznetsov feeds it ahead, a backhand shot. Taken there by Kitson. Another chance and fired high by Kuznetsov.
Kuznetsov and Kitson have fantastic chemistry. It was Kitson taking advantage of Kuznetsov's playmaking last night against the Finns. And here it is again. What a feed right out front from Kuznetsov to Kitson. Then finally, you see the give and go. Kuznetsov will reel in the puck and try to create a wraparound opportunity. Those guys have unbelievable chemistry.
Bertosov off the face-off, tries to walk around Eriksson. Now Bertosov back with it. Out of the corner he comes and shoots it, flips way up in the air and down in the corner. And Bertisov gets his own rebound on the far side of the ice.
Well, don't you think it looks almost as if the layoff has hurt the Swedes? They just don't have the same pace.
That pass was knocked out of midair by Sergeyev, or Celine was in behind him.
Or are they that fragile because they gave up the first goal that they're questioning whether they can beat the Russians?
Anton Lander with a shot that goes off a foot. And Dvorachensky wraps it around all the way down. Icing waved off as Dahlbeck goes back and leaves it there for Simon Bertelsen. Head to Celine. Now a bouncing puck moved ahead. And a penalty coming up as Bocharov was working his way in. He was hooked. And the Russians will go on the power play.
Bertelsen's a seventh defenseman for Roger Ronberg. Turnover in the neutral zone. Bouncing puck, and then a foot race ensues. And it's a real good job by the Russians getting to that puck. Bocharov gets there, and you see Bertelsen's stick come right in, or the arm. Called for a hook.
Russians have 6 power play goals. Their power play was demonstrably ineffective in the first 2 periods against the Finns. They generated almost nothing.
Give credit to the Finns, though. The Finns played a tremendous 45 minutes of hockey. It was a 15-minute game for the Russians.
Orlov with it. He'll run things from the back end. He's got a really good shot. Orlov works his way in and shoots right on. Leonard makes the save on the deflection. And Adam Larsson puts Orlov in a bit of a headlock and knocks his helmet off. So Orlov is a second-round pick of the Washington Capitals in 09. A lot of teams have shied away from Russians. Not so with the Caps, who have some pretty good ones in their lineup right now. Ovechkin, Semin, Varlamov. But Orlov was a second-rounder in 09. They got Kuznetsov, a first-rounder in 2010. Only 4 Russians were picked in last year's NHL draft.
And there's Kuznetsov on the bench. Another one of them you're alluding to. Boy, what magic he put on last night. What display of skill, especially on the tying goal.
6 feet, 172 pounds, so give him a couple of years. Freeberg chips that ahead. And Orlov knocked it back in, and the Russians are in business on the power play. Sobchenko to Tarasenko to Orlov. Orlov walks the line. Long wrist shot, bounces out in front. And Johan Larsson couldn't knock it away. Tarasenko with it. Plays it back, and a shot by Urachev. Rebound, what a save by Leonard. He took one away from Sobchenko, point blank. Tarasenko back to Orlov. Being shadowed by Freeberg. Orlov plays it back. Urachev to Orlov. Lots of traffic in front. Unloads. Leonard makes the pad save. The rebound into the feet of Balawiski. Couldn't get a shot away.
So we've got to get some presence on the point man here for the Russians. These guys can bring it.
Urachev to Orlov. And Orlov slides it down to Tarasenko. 3 across the top now for the Russians. Try to play it back. Freeberg all over Tarasenko. Now gets it back to Orlov. Urachev. Pass in front. Tarasenko stopped by Leonard. What a save. And Freeberg races ahead. Chips it by Orlov. 2-on-1 short-handed. Freeberg with Johan Larsson. Shoots. Save made by Shikin. He'll hang on to the rebound. A great save at one end and a terrific short-handed opportunity at the other.
Question mark about the goaltending with the Ottawa Senators. Maybe not going forward after you watch Robin Leonard in this situation. What a save, not just one, but 2 right there. The second one against Sobchenko. And how about this one against Tarasenko, robbing it right out of the air with the catching glove. Robin Leonard, really a difference maker. He was in game 1 when the Swedes won 2-0, and he has been so far in this game as well.
Swedes only used Leonard in 2 games in the preliminary round. He didn't play against Norway or the Czechs. Dahlbeck knocks it away. 15 seconds to go in this Russian power play. Lots of good chances, though. Kalinin sends it down. Leonard will glove that. We'll get a face-off in the Swedish zone.
Closed captioning is brought to you by The Home Depot, proud to support more than 50 hockey teams in communities across Canada.
Back here in Buffalo, New York, Gord Miller, Pierre Maguire on semifinal Monday at the World Junior Hockey Championship.
Caliber play in this tournament has been phenomenal. It's not just Canada, it's not just Sweden, it's not just the U.S., it's not just the Russians. The Finns were very good. There was some real good play from the Czechs. There's great play in this whole tournament.
Bergikov had his shot blocked. Here's Kalinin with it. Final seconds now. And now the penalized player Bertelsen is back on the ice. Kicks it. Down to Kuznetsov. Evgeny Kuznetsov winds his way in. Here he comes. Spins, shoots, and Leonard makes the glove save. .348 left in the period, and coming up in our first intermission, James Duffy and Bob McKenzie will look ahead to Canada and the U.S., bringing all the news from the 2011 World Junior Championship. From their perch here in Buffalo, at the line, Berezin's shot was blocked, flips it back down to the corner. Verachenski to Voronin. Up in Voronin. Goes that across to Berdasov. Goes back to the point to Berezin, trying to find an angle. Shoots late with a save, and Voronin batting away at it. And he's knocked off the puck by Adam Larson.
This is last night for Evgeny Kuznetsov. This is artistry and mastery of the puck. That's just a phenomenal play, and eventually Maxim Kitson will score the tying goal. But Kuznetsov just goes his whole dash through the Finnish team. Sami Vatanen, number 9, their best defender. He can't even stop him on the toe drag. And eventually Kitson ties it up, but there's a little display of Kuznetsov's skill.
Stanislav Bocharov gets free, works his way in front and shoots and flips it over the crossbar. And Carl Klingberg sends the puck out. The shots are now 12-11 in favor of the Swedes, who at one point had an 11-3 advantage. And here come the Russians again. Bocharov with it. Spins back in behind the goal. Bocharov still with it. Muscles off Dalbec. Shot falls down to Golubov at the line, held for the moment, but flipped into the crowd by Ignatovic.
Well, they're getting a lot of legs on the ice, the Russians. Getting a lot of four-line attack. Skill level on all four lines. Golubov's a fourth-line center for him. Plays with Bocharov and Panarin.
There is Nikita Zaitsev. So many of these Russian players are draft eligible. Zaitsev was unpicked last year. You wonder if NHL teams will start gambling on some of these guys.
I'm not sure. That KHL thing is a tough thing to hold in front of an NHL team, especially with an early draft pick. First or second round, it's tough, Gord.
Celine chips it in. Here's Freeberg battling with Urachev. And Freeberg falls. The puck leaves behind the goal to Orlov. Quickly ahead to Tarasenko. Outlets for Savchenko. Stepping around Nemeth. In comes Savchenko. Centers it in behind Tarasenko. And the Swedes now counterattacking, but Pivzakin stepped up and knocked that back into the Swedish zone. Russians with a 1-0 lead against a very tentative Swedish team. Now they bring it ahead. Tornberg tries to walk in. He's poke checked by Berezin. And Panarin moved the puck down the ice. Icing waved off as Fredrik Stierman goes back. Stierman plays for Luleå. The Swedish elite head coach Roger Ronberg of the Swedish team used to be the head coach there.
Luleå's way up north. Arctic Circle up north.
Bouncing puck through the slot, scooped up and played ahead by Bergikov. He missed Panarin. Adam Larson almost had that pass knocked out of midair by Panarin. Now Kuznetsov has it. Kuznetsov winds his way in again. Evgeny Kuznetsov feeds it across. And Bergikov with a shot that deflects down, and now Kazakin with a shot that goes wide. Bergikov steps up and keeps it alive for the Russians. And finally, Yarncroc has it for the Swedes. Raquel had that knocked away. Now feeds it there for Yarncroc. In comes Kelly. Yarncroc outshoots, and Shikin makes the save. Kuznetsov waits and winds his way back in the final minute now of the period. Berezin ahead to Berdasov at the line. Dverichinsky was spilled. And the play stays alive as Dverichinsky is digging for it. Eriksson for Nemeth. And Patrick Nemeth being harassed there by Dverichinsky. Wansker slides it ahead for Jesper Fast. Great move. In comes Fast. Plays it across. And he missed Oscar Lindberg. And back come the Russians. Berdasov into the feet of the defenseman Klaus Dahlbeck. And a lead pass down for Carl Klingberg in front of the Russian bench. Eriksson with a shot that floats high and wide. And things wide open here in the late stages of the opening period. Berdasov banks it down. Carl Klingberg loses the puck in the corner. Bocharov after it. Voronin centers it. Couldn't reach Bocharov. And now Now a long shot taken by Panarin. And Lehner hangs on to that. So Tarasenko with the goal. The Russians with the lead in this opening period. Under the old format, if you lost twice in the World Junior, the straight round robin, no way you'd win a gold medal. But now, with the playoff format, the Russians can lose their first 2 games and still win a gold. Russia last went to the gold medal game in 2007. Leksand, Sweden beat the Swedes in the semis, lost to Canada in the final. They've got a 1-0 lead after 20 minutes of play. You're watching the 2011 World Junior Hockey Championship from Buffalo, New York on TSN. Our first intermission is coming up. Winner goes to the gold medal game on Wednesday night. The loser will play for bronze earlier that day. Nemeth ahead for Eriksson. And Tim Eriksson plays it back. A lead pass for Jesper Fast. That misses. An icing waved off as Orlov goes back. Now a turnover. And a chance now for Fast, who rips that high and wide. And Jesper Fast on it. Swedish observers here include Parmats, the head coach of the Swedish men's national team. And a number of the Swedish commentators surprised by the tepid Swedish start. Now Fast back for Johan Larsson. He puts it wide.
They were worried before the game. They were wondering how their players were going to respond to playing against Russia. Traditionally, they haven't played great against the Russians.
Johan Larsson knocks it down. Oscar Lindberg comes walking in, and Lindberg hammered down by Orlov. Dmitry Orlov stepped into him and stopped that rush in its tracks. Now Fast spins at the line. And Jesper Fast, the Rangers 6th-round pick, plays that out. Johan Larsson leaves it there. John Klingberg takes a swipe at that. It bounces right back to him. And Fast back with it. Cross the tall back, intercepted by Tarasenko. And Tarasenko has his mates changing, sends that softly on goal.
It's a good thing for the Swedes. Tarasenko was out of gas. He went right for a change. If he had the full tank, he would have been in all alone.
And almost a turnover there by John Klingberg, who spins back. Kitson and Kuznetsov watching him carefully. And now Kalinin steps up. Sergei Kalinin. Causing trouble for Dahlbeck, who leaves it there for Klingberg. And we've got a collision with Lehner as Kalinin went sliding into him, and the face-off will come outside.
Dmitry Orlov's known as being a point getter, but he's also a ferocious defender, especially when he gets physical. And he gets physical right there. He does not play the man, or he does play the man, excuse me, he doesn't play the puck. And he is going to be a very good one for the Washington Capitals.
Playing 18 and a half minutes a game in the KHL, which is unusual for a player of his age. Plays for Novak Kuznets. And there's a penalty coming up to the Russians as Bertasov got his stick into Stearman. And the Swedes are going to the power play.
This is only their 17th time on the power play throughout the whole tournament. They're 4 for 16. This is their 17th chance. And, well, Stearman makes it look good, but the stick is parallel to the ice, and they're going to call that every time.
So the Swedes got a chance on the power play. They've scored 4, as you mentioned, on the power play. They allowed a shorthanded goal to Canada in the last game, a big one by Curtis Hamilton. And the Russians are very aggressive, looking for shorthanded chances, although they've yet to score a shorthanded goal in the tournament. They had 2 shorthanded breakaways in the round-robin game against the Swedes. Off the draw, Järnkrok with it. Kalle Järnkrok deals back in the corner. Looks back to Eriksson. To Järnkrok. Cross to Eriksson with a drive. Kicked out by Shikin. And Bocharov sends it ahead to Golubov. And Golubov tracking down Järnkrok, which means iron hook in Swedish. Gabriel Landeskog, by the way, out of the Swedish lineup for the balance of the tournament as Lindberg takes a shot that goes wide. Injured his ankle after playing in just 1 game. Here's Eriksson. Feeds it down to Lindberg. Lindberg works his way in, can't get a forehand shot away, and now backhanded out as Eriksson takes his shot as he knocked that down at the line. Here's Lindberg with it. Back to Eriksson, right on the line to Lindberg. Fast trying to find a way open. Lindbergh winds his way and he shoots. And Shicken saw just enough of that to knock that to the boards and out. And Eriksson back with it. Tim Eriksson, who plays in Skellefteå in the Swedish League. Puck squeezed by him. Skellefteå, the host city of the Millennium World Junior in 2000.
He's got a pretty good teammate there in Adam Larsson. He's going to be one of the first 3 picks in this summer's entry draft. At least he should.
Lander tries a rush. That's knocked away. And here comes Kuznetsov shorthanded. Evgeny Kuznetsov trying to get around Larsson. And Adam Larsson stuck with him. And now Larsson has the puck. Snaps that through the middle. And the puck flipped in by Carl Lindbergh. Klingberg, rather. And Klingberg slides it around the wall for Celine. Takes the return pass from Adam Larsson. And now Larsson across the top, a long wrist shot, and that's gloved by Dmitry Shikin.
Swedes have an interesting concept on the power play. You don't see any slot area presence, but then watch Johan Larsson. When the puck's up high, he's going to bounce to the front of the net. But again, he really doesn't go with the flow. Then he's going to bounce out again. There's no traffic, so it's an easy read and react for Shikin. And then there is a little traffic, but again, the shot's wide. Not that consistent pressure. Sorry, Greg.
Final seconds of this power play, and a long shot handled by Shikin. As Tornberg took that shot, and now Leonard plays it back for Dahlbeck, and the teams are back to 5-on-5. The shots are 17-15 Sweden in a 1-0 game in favor of Russia. And there's icing against the Swedes.
I am absolutely shocked by the Swedish performance so far. I have to tell you, I thought they were going to come out here guns a-blazing. And guys like Järnkrok, like Tornberg, I thought they were going to really bring it for Roger Rönnberg because they're just so fast and they're so skillful. That's what we've seen all tournament long. We're not seeing that tonight.
The team that outscored its competition 21-9 in its 4 round-robin games, including a 2-0 shutout against these Russians. He had 38 shots in that game. John Klingberg brings it ahead, but the puck bounces back to Johan Sundstrom, and Sundstrom plays it back for Dahlbeck. And here's Dahlbeck with it. Plays it across the Nimitz. Dallas second-round pick. Plays it back for Tornberg, and again the Swedes are bottled up in their own zone. Dahlbeck feeds it ahead. Cal couldn't get to it. And Zaitsev plays that ahead. Golubov was hammered down by Nemeth. The puck rolls down to Leonard, and he'll hang on. About 3 hours away from the start of the second semifinal today. You look inside the Canadian dressing room. The sweater of Ryan Ellis and others. Team Canada against the United States. The game everyone wanted to see here. Maybe wanted it Wednesday.
Yeah.
But Monday's not so bad either. Johan Larsson to Järnkrok. Quickly ahead he goes to Fast, and yes, for Fast is that. Lost the puck though, and then it's shoveled ahead by Tarasenko. And Eriksson fires it back in. 5 gone in the second period. Sobchenko with a rolling puck, plays it ahead. The Russians have a 3-on-2. Balowiski to Tarasenko, shoots, he just missed the top corner. And now Oscar Lindbergh plays it ahead. That's intercepted, and away comes Orlov with it. The drop for Tarasenko, Russian changing, Tarasenko just missed again. 2 shots missed by maybe a total of 4 inches.
Are you getting a little Datsuk feel on Tarasenko in terms of his shiftiness and his escapability?
Zakin stepped into his man, and now Kuznetsov has it. Quickly ahead he goes for Kitson. Maxim Kitson works his way in front, bouncing puck into the feet of Kuznetsov. He couldn't find it. Oscar Lindbergh plays it ahead. Rink line for Stearman. In comes Stearman with a shot to his short side. Longstrom fires, that's blocked. Loose puck in front, Carl Klingberg can't get to it. And now Kitson has it. And he's got Kalinin with him, but Kitson was in ahead of the play. Back to Buffalo and semifinal action after this. From right to left, Canadian head coach Dave Cameron, then assistants George Burnett and Ryan Huska looking on. Scouting the potential opponent in the coming days. No matter what happens, Canada will play on Wednesday. Either in the bronze medal game or for gold. Canada has been to the last 9 gold medal games at the World Juniors. Voronin sends it in deep. John Klingberg fed that by Bertisov. Now the Russians regroup with a long cross-ice pass for Voronin, but the play's offside at the Swedish line.
Closed captioning is brought to you by The Home Depot, proud to support more than 50 hockey teams in communities across Canada.
World Junior in Buffalo for the first time, and I'm not sure we're coming back after that.
Hey, go! Can we call the border police and somebody to have her detained indefinitely? Either that or Mrs. McGuire's going to get her.
I'd rather mess with the border cops myself. Personally, I'll take my chances with them. Jesper Fast works his way in. Ignatovic can't find him. A long pass for Golubov misfires, rolls all the way down to Leonard, leaves that. Icy though was waved off. Now a centering pass, Golubov in, scores! Dennis Golubov taps it home. Leonard left the puck, and the Russians take a 2-0 lead.
We gotta watch this whole thing about whether this is icing or not. I think Robin Leonard thought this was icing. Let's just see if this touches anybody. That doesn't touch anybody. It goes down. Robin Leonard thinks that's icing. He clearly thinks that's icing. That's why he doesn't play it. And then Golubov jumps on it. That is icing. The Swedes get ripped off big time on this play. There's no way that defender, the arm is up right there. That is an icing call. That is a blown call by the officials. That gives the Russians a 2-goal. He thinks that's icing. That's why he doesn't play the puck.
And Bacharov jumped on it. Now there's a discussion at the Swedish bench.
I don't blame him. I'd be furious. That's why Roger Rönnberg's so upset. I was looking at that going, that's got to be icing.
And it's not something you can go back and undo.
No, that's not video reviewable.
Stearman goes back. I didn't hear a linesman, the other linesman, say no, 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 which is customary if it's waved off. There's a long shot that Chicken handles easily. As Raquel took that shot, so the Russians with a 2-0 lead on 2 strange goals. One a bank shot by Tarasenko, and the other on what appeared to be icing. Adam Larsson sends it in front. Chicken down. The puck bounces down to Orlov, and Tarasenko feeds it ahead. Adam Larsson lays that down in the Russian zone. And Tarasenko misses that. That is icing. Let's listen and hear if we hear the other linesman wave it off. So he did say no, no, no. There was a clear wave off. Why it was waved off, we don't know.
Well, that's the biggest question. Why would that be waved off? That's a clear definition of automatic icing.
And a huge break for the Russians. Kitson steps across the line. It's offside. Let's have a look.
Well, they think Tim Eriksson can get to this puck. There's no way Tim Eriksson can get. Watch number 4 in goal. He can't get to that puck. That's him frozen right there. Now that's in slow motion. That's not fast motion. There's no way he can get to that puck. Unless he's Rail Ruotsalainen and he switches countries. One of the best skating defensemen ever.
Now a chance for Kitson walking in. Kitson shoots at the save made by Leonard. Now Wanstrom reaching for it. Kuznetsov takes that away, plays it back, and a chance for Bizek. Rebound, and Kалинин had that blocked by Tim Eriksson. He had an open net. Eriksson just saved the goal. And now it's the Swedes in desperate need of a spark, down 2-0 midway through the second period. Kалинin jumps it across the line, plays there for Kuznetsov with a shot, and the save is made just by Leonard. Wanstrom back the other way, 3-on-2. Wanstrom feeds it back in front. Lander took a whack at that, couldn't knock it home, and now John Klingberg with a shot, and Kuznetsov blocked that.
Wow. What a difference a night makes, huh, for Kuznetsov. He wasn't blocking shots last night.
Now intercepts that pass. He's all over the ice today.
Yes, he is. So much for the fatigue factor we were worried about.
Well, he was well rested after 2 periods last night.
Good point by you.
Berdasov to Kuznetsov, who feeds it out. The shots are 20-19 for the Swedes. And Lander spins back. Anton Lander fires that down, and that will be icing.
Now this one they call icing. This goes right through a Russian player. Then that's what drives you nuts. I think they know they made a mistake on that last goal. Anyway, stuff happens, mistakes happen, and you just got to get through it.
The linesmen are Jesse Wilmot from Canada and Jonathan Morrison from the United States. Berdasov to Verona. John Klingberg paddles forward the corner. Veronin on him. And Freeberg has it for the Swedes. They break out as Freeberg brings it ahead. It was poke check by Berezin. And now Veronin on it. Sergeyev. High off the glass and Dverichinsky. Up ahead for Veronin. And Panarin lays that back to Berezin. Paxton Berezin for Panarin. Shovels that out in front, and Freeberg has it. Kind of a long shift for these Swedes, but here they come again. Freeberg swings that wide. And walking out in front is fast. Had his shot blocked by Zaitsev. And Panarin back the other way. Feeds that across to Zaitsev. Nikita Zaitsev pounds that down. And Golubov, who has the second Russian goal, was waiting for it. Kucherov, who set up the goal with an alert play behind the Swedish goal.
This is a fourth line for the Russians, so it's like found money when you get offense from the fourth line.
Jarnkrok plays it across. Johan Larsson tees it up, and Shikin makes the save on him. Jarnkrok sent for a spill. Well, Marilyn Dennis's much-anticipated new lifestyle entertainment talk show is coming to CTV. Live Better, Live Happy. The Marilyn Dennis Show next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific on CTV. A lot of Canadian fans are here already. Getting set for the game tonight. Enormous crowd expected, and it will be raucous in here tonight. Buffalo, New York has been annexed by Canadians for the last couple of weeks. Here's Raquel with a chance. Fires. Shikin makes the save up high, and it drops right back down in the slot. Tarasenko feeds it across to Valowiski. Simeon Valowiski battling down the corner. Sobchenko for it. And John Klingberg takes that away from him. His pass was off the leg of Valowiski. Klingberg spins back again. And Sundstrom had his pass disrupted. And Urachev sends it back down to the Swedish zone. 8:40 to go in the second period. Thornburg. Expand on that pass. Another chance for Kitson. As the big line is out there for the Russians. Kitson, Kuznetsov, along with Kалинин out there. And it's fired back down to the Swedish zone. Now both teams will change. Tim Eriksson, member of the Swedish team that lost the gold medal game to Canada 2 years ago. Off the head for Wahlstrom, he was stymied by Kалинин. And Kitson fed that across, just missed Kuznetsov. Adam Larsson. To Oscar Lindberg, and away comes Lindberg across the line. Jumps around Kалинин. And the puck's still loose behind the goal. Pivzakin plays it up. And Kitson had that puck go into the Swedish bench. We're back to Buffalo right after this. Kuznetsov and Wahlstrom get offsetting roughing minors at 7:48. And yes, it is 4-on-4. Mr. Bragin is asking the officials.
For Roger Ronberg, his team's going to have to reel this thing in fast, use this open ice. They've got to get some emotion. They got to get something going here at the tail end of the second period, being down 2-0.
Chance with Berezin, who was skating ahead, but Veronin comes up to pick up the loose puck. Adam Larsson has it. Larson born in November of 1992, has to wait an extra year to get drafted, and now Stearman stepped into Verona. Lead pass for Lander, and Anton Lander works in, waiting for Celine to join him. The pass is intercepted by Bears and flipped ahead for Bacharov, and he couldn't walk the tightrope. He's offside.
Dmitry Shikin has had a tremendous game here in the semifinal so far, and it started early and often with the right pad coming out against Nicholas Foss, doing a good job on a read and react. Just always square to the shooter, and if he's not, his athleticism takes over. He's had a great first part of this game.
Eriksson works his way ahead. Tim Eriksson. In on Ignatovic. Eriksson still with it. Trying to find someone. Now feeds it in front for Fast. That was knocked away. Ignatovic sweeps that to the side, boys. Bacharov waiting for it. He's got Golubov with him. They clicked on the last rushing goal. And Jarnkrok shoots back to pick up the puck. Jarnkrok looking like the next Detroit Swede.
He shoots the puck. Get him a playmaking center. Could get a lot of goals.
Got a couple of those in Detroit.
Yes, they do.
Golubov with it. Picks his way ahead as the Swedes are changing game center ice. And Golubov still with it. Interrupted by Fast. And now Lindbergh with it. He falls. Took the linesman there. And now Eriksson with it. Eriksson will try it again. In across the line. His mates are changing. Irichev goes back. Eriksson steps into him. Yuri Irichev. Or Tarasenko. Tarasenko's by himself. The Russians are changing. John Klingberg takes it away. Chance for an odd man rush. Klingberg up ahead to Dahlbeck. Lost Dahlbeck, the defenseman indeed. Works around Orlov. Plays it back to John Klingberg along wrist shot. That goes wide off the end board. Shikin makes a good save. They bank it again. Shikin down. The puck is loose. Off the side of the goal. Shikin had lost his stick. Great chance there for Lindbergh. But Shikin once again kept it out. Carl Klingberg in the corner for Johan Larsson. And now Shikin comes out in front of Wanstrom and played that away. Orlov knocked that shot away, and Tarasenko has a man, Kuznetsov, but can't find him with the pass. John Klingberg slides it ahead to Johan Larsson. Larsson's pass is interrupted. Now he gets it right back. Johan Larsson bounces it in front. Stearman jumps up. Down to Johan Larsson. Adam Larsson out there as well. Here's Stearman with it. Sends that in front. Deflected puck. Bouncing down in front. Tapped wide by Johan Sundstrom. Ricard Raquel with it. Plays it there for Johan Larsson. He feeds it. Here's Raquel with a chance. He taps it wide. And Johan Sundstrom with it. Good pressure now by the Swedes. Sundstrom peels off the corner. Stearman with a drive. That's deflected. Shikin got his shoulder on that. And now Stearman has to go back. Icing waved off. And Kitson stepped into Stearman. Chip back to the Swedish line, and Adam Larsson has it. Lander up ahead for Celine. Patrick Celine trying to work his way in, and a penalty coming up to Maxim Berezin for taking down Celine. And the extra skater is on for the Swedes. Lander works out in front. Backhand shot was blocked. There's 5 Swedes standing in front. And finally, the penalty we called against Berezin, a trip. And with 3:56 to go in the second period, a power play for the Swedes.
Patrick Celine's a great scorer. He's got 3 goals so far in the tournament. He just gets hauled down by Maxime Berezin as he tries to drive to the net. It was Celine that had the huge goal against Canada and Olivier Roy.
So the Swedes to the power play. 0 for 1 so far this evening or this afternoon. Golubov steps in with a face-off against Lindbergh. Golubov won that cleanly. Face-off has been a problem for the Russians in this tournament. That was a big win there. Verona doesn't clear it out. Eriksson plays it down to Lindbergh. Now Eriksson winds and fires at the post. Ring it off the goal post. Go back to him again. Eriksson Oh, what a play by Golubov to reach out and take that away. Golubov sprawls and sends it ahead and rolls down to Leonard. And now Voronin plays it back in deep.
Golubov has a very unorthodox way of blocking shots, but it worked for him right there. He got the hook out at the last second.
Seconds after Eriksson had hit the post. Now plays it down for Celine, who had that tying goal against Canada. Off that rush on the wing. Lander with it. Back to Eriksson. To Lander. Looking for a lane, plays it back for Eriksson. Now Lander fires Schick and knocked it down with his glove, but couldn't hang on to it. Lander back for Eriksson, but the pass missed him, and the puck comes out. And Celine swings back. Being shadowed there by Kuznetsov. The lead pass goes ahead to Carl Klingberg. In he comes, Klingberg around Orlov. Pass intercepted by Kuznetsov, and he fires it down the ice. Who was that wearing 25 for the Russians for the first two periods last night?
I don't know. The masked man.
Kuznetsov with another steal to the line and out. Maybe the presence of George McPhee has excited him. Lander now works his way in. 15 seconds to go in this power play. Adam Larsson feeds it across. His shot by Dolbeck goes just wide. Thornburg with it. Thornburg back for Larsson. Adam Larsson power play goal, and the Swedes are back in it.
They needed something, and they got that something from one of their best players, in Adam Larsson. Trying to get people to the front of the net, but what I like for it in this situation, they keep their feet moving, they get people in front of the net. Look at that play by Anton Lander down low. You'll see 16 in goal just skate right in front of Schicken, and I think he gets Schicken's attention enough. And you see Valerie Bragina not happy at all. That puck should have been out of the zone, he's probably saying. But all that being said, that's a good goal by the Swedes.
And now a one-goal deficit again. Johan Larsson works his way in. He's knocked down as Voronin tries to play it out. Minute 45 to go in the second. Rolling puck goes to Sergeyev. And there's icing called as Verchensky got clipped with a high stick on his way down. Coming up in just a couple of moments, James Duffy and Bob McKenzie will take another look at that controversial second Russian goal. And have a look ahead to Canada and the United States.
Go Canada!
They're, 2.5 hours away from facing off here in Western New York. 2-1 to score. Patrick Nemeth. Hands it down for Celine. Freeberg. Drops it down. And it's picked up by Celine. Sergeyev takes him off the puck and moves that to the line, but not out. Freeberg with it. In comes Freeberg. He shoots. And Schicken makes the save on him. Verchensky plays it down to the Swedish line. Eriksson ahead for Freeberg with numbers. In comes Freeberg, trying to feed that in front for Celine. That was broken up by Berezin. In comes Celine. That's knocked away. Verchensky with it. And Nikita Verchensky.
Penalty coming to Sweden.
Play that up, and the Swedes are going to be called for a hold. It'll be Lander who goes off with 52 seconds to go in the period.
Anton Lander, the Edmonton Oilers draft pick, second round in 2009, comes right in on Verchensky. The free hand coming out is what catches the attention of the officials, and Verchensky going down also probably catches their attention.
Nikita Verchensky plays for Dynamo Moscow. His dad, Nikita Sr., is still playing professional hockey in Russia. He's 42 years old, plays in the Russian First Division. So Russia to the power play. Orlov with it. Plays it for Tarasenko. Tarasenko works his way in. Rolled that right down to Larsson, and Larsson plays it out. And a race for it. Carl Klingberg going back on Ruchev. Orlov with it now. Jumps in across the line. Plays it off for Savchenko. Daniel Savchenko. In for Dmitry Orlov. 25 seconds to go in the period. Tarasenko Back to Urachev. A goal here by the Russians would be a backbreaker. Tarasenko plays it across. Orlov shoots. Lander makes the save. Savchenko jumping for it. Carl Klingberg on his backhand. Couldn't clear it out. 10 seconds to go in the period. Tarasenko comes in. Orlov jumped up. Klingberg falls. And the Russians will have 1 minute and 8 seconds of power play time to open the third period with a 2-1 lead after 40 minutes. This is the 2011 World Junior Hockey Championship from Buffalo, New York on TSN. Our first intermission is coming up.
Problem. Those defensemen are going backwards, not forwards, and the Russian players are attacking. So they already stalled their engines, the Swedish defensemen. That's the problems, and that's the key component on the live boards that I just talked about. The Russians have a distinct speed advantage in that situation.
So why doesn't Leonard play the puck?
Because he thought it was icing. He's tracking the puck.
But the linesman said no. I understand the linesman made probably a poor judgment, but he made his judgment in time and gave the Swedes, to me, lots of time.
If I were Roger Ronberg, I'd be ticked off. I was going to say another word, but...
Here's Urachev setting it in front, and Savchenko picks it up for the Russians, who open this period on the power play. And now Orlov uncorks that big shot. Leonard reached out, and that was a rocket from Dmitry Orlov, and you wonder why he doesn't use it more often.
Really? If you look at it right now, he's got 1 goal in the tournament, but 7 assists.
Tarasenko comes walking in, rips that across. And now Orlov another chance. Rebound in front, and Laner hangs on to that with a bouncing puck. And Valowiski, along with Bertisov, looking for the rebound.
And that's why you want Orlov shooting the puck. He just has a hammer from the back end, the 55th pick overall in the 2009 draft. He's going to get it, and he's just going to blow it on goal. Robin Leonard can't control it because of the velocity of the shot, and then he does control the second chance opportunity off the stick of Semyon Valowiski.
Just 9 seconds to go in this Russian power play. Kuznetsov lost the draw to Yarncroc. At the line, Bears unable to hold it. Feeds it right back in front. A backhand shot from Kalinin went just wide. Great chance in the dying seconds of that power play. Now they're back to 5-on-5 as Lander steps out of the box, and Yarncroc has it. In with Lander and Adam Larsson, who has the Swedish goal. Feeds it back in front. Yarncroc scores! Tie game! And Kelly Yarncroc with an exuberant celebration, and no wonder.
Well, I'm just happy that the icing call now kind of doesn't have a real focus on this game. It's chipped out of the air.
Was it fast, or was it Yarncroc?
Larson throws it out front.
That
looks to be like it's going to be Yarncroc, the Detroit Red Wings second-round pick in 2010. Right there. Hard to say.
Whoever it is, it's 2-2. And Sergeyev goes back. Here's Celine. Patrick Celine for Larsson. That pass misfires, and Bertisov with it. Now the Swedes out shooting the Russians 30-25. And a 2-2 game in the semifinals. If necessary, this game would go to a 10-minute 4-on-4 overtime. And if that settles nothing, there would be a shootout. John Klingberg fell, Bacharov reaching in for it. And now Panarin plays it across, and Golubov plays it in. Sweden has won the last 4 meetings with the Russians. You have to go back to the semifinals in 07 in Leksand to find the last Russian win against the Swedes. There's a sharp angle shot, just missed by Celine, and now Carl Klingberg plays it ahead. Lindbergh plays that back, but the pass misfired, and Eriksson is back for it. For Nemeth. Patrick Nemeth works his way into the rush. Here comes Nemeth, shovels that in front. Chicken makes the save, and he has the puck, perhaps without realizing it's under his left heel. Then play is called.
Good burst by Patrick Nemeth, driving hard on the net. A second-round pick of the Dallas Stars, plays for AIK. Big defenseman at 6'4". Driving with speed. was right on the attack against Orlov, and then Chicken just shuts it down.
Unofficially, the goal has been given to Kalle Järnkrok, but that will be subjected to some video scrutiny. And here's Järnkrok with it in the corner.
Well, his stick skills are real good, Kalle Järnkrok. You call him the Iron Hook? Is that what Järnkrok?
That's what his name means in Swedish, yeah.
That stick's like an Iron Hook worse for him.
And Landeskog means big forest or great forest in Swedish.
He's great.
In comes Johan Larsson, mishandles the puck, and it's banked out. And of course, Landeskog not playing. The Swedes also without Oliver Ekman Larsson, Magnus Pajärvi, and Jakob Josefsson. 3 eligible players who are in the NHL. The Russians are without Alexander Burmistov, the Atlanta Thrashers first-round pick, who's playing in the NHL as well. Järnkrok gets credit, and this is a 2-2 game, but Kitson lays it across to Kалинин. Long shot, steered away by Leonard. The rebound bounces right back to Kалинin. And Kuznetsov with a shot. His stick exploded, and Kuznetsov looks skyward. He can't believe his bad fortune. And meantime, as that happens, arriving in the building, Coach Keith Allain and Team USA. They'll take on Canada in the second semifinal in a couple hours' time. Those two teams have gone to overtime or a shootout 3 times in the last 5 meetings, including once in the prelims last year. Of course, Canada won that game in a shootout, then the U.S. came back and won in overtime in the gold medal game. Sergeyev back court. Looks ahead for Dverichensky. And Dverichensky hit across the line. He shoots, his stick explodes. And the Russians, the victims of a bad batch here in the third period. In case you're wondering, those are all North American-made sticks. Those are the ones they use in the NHL, which you're so fond of. Tim Eriksson sends that down, and Chicken kind of juggles that a little bit. He was awkward last night against the Finns, but got the job done. Charov sends that down, and Adam Larsson. Cross he goes to Stearman. Harrison cross to Golubov, long rink-wide pass. Finds Panarin, sent that through the middle. And now Johan Larsson back with it, knocked down from behind by Sergeyev. Stearman for Adam Larsson. Järnkrok plays it back. The lead pass to Johan Larsson. In along with Celine. And Larsson plays that in deep. Now Lander joins the rush, and Anton Lander with it. Celine calling for the puck in front. Lander couldn't find him. Fresh off the bench is Freeberg, and a long point shot is knocked away. As Dahlbeck got a good shot away. Golubov drops it back for Tarasenko. And Tarasenko works in deep. Lander's on him. Freeberg. Bumped there by Valowiski. But Dahlbeck leads the rush. He falls with Golubov. There's no penalty. Jurichev with it. 2 Russians waiting at center ice. And the pass goes ahead to Valowiski. In alone, Valowiski fired in the wide. He had Leonard beat.
He went right through Leonard's legs and couldn't score. Wow.
John Klingberg brings it in. Here comes Klingberg. He drops for Freeberg. Freeberg elects not to shoot. Plays it down for Lindbergh. The Swedes are changing in the offensive zone. What a chance for Semyon Valowiski a moment ago. Now Freeberg loose in front. Chicken dives on that. And the Russian netminder takes it away. 2-2 the score here in the third period.
Semyon Valowiski comes in all alone on Robin Leonard, and he goes right through the legs. That's as close as you can come to not scoring a goal when you beat a goalie through the 5-hole.
You'd like to think if you beat the guy through the legs, the puck would go in the net.
Wow. A lot of intrigue in this game.
Oh. A chance off the inboards, and Johan Larsson has that taken away by Chicken. So the Americans are here, and Team Canada arriving as well. They walk right by the Team USA dressing room. There's Braden Shen, Tyson Berry, and the rest of the gang walking in. There will be 7 teammates playing against each other in that game tonight. 12 players are back from last year's gold medal game. And we're just over 2 hours away from the puck drop. The building's sold out tonight. Sergei plays that to the line and gets it by Nemeth. And that's icing. And now every time it happens, you have to wonder. But I would think that from now on, teams won't take a chance. If it's close to icing, they'll be very careful.
We've been getting emails from NHL defensemen. I just got one from an NHL defenseman who said, no, the referee made the linesman made the right decision. And I said, okay, good for you, except there's one difference. This is not touch icing. This is automatic icing. So he emailed me back and he goes, oh, poop, you're right, I'm wrong. That was icing. Just so you know, Gordon, that's from an NHL defenseman.
You're missing my point.
No, it's a bad call.
It doesn't matter. He made the call.
The
goaltender had lots of time. That's the point. The goalie had lots of time to play the puck. The linesman made his call.
Okay, good for him.
And there's icing against the Swedes.
You think, okay, might make my point. They know they made a mistake. That's why they've got the magnifying glasses out on all the icings now. They know.
And by the way, the officiating supervisor here said that the right call was made.
Oh, really? The supervisors never, ever criticize the officials, right?
Remember 3 years ago, they sent an official home from this tournament. They didn't take him out of the tournament, they sent him home.
Good.
Oh, goodness. Adam Larson.
I'm just glad it's 2-2.
Me too. Here's Celine, sends it ahead. Quick chance. Schicken makes the save on Lander. And Anton Lander making his presence felt. Celine collided there with Schicken away from the play. And Schicken, who's been known to take the odd tumble, was spilled there. Panarin in across the line. And now Golubov with it. And Wahlstrom back the other way. Golubov took it right back away from him. Golubov centers it for Panarin. Shoots. That goes wide. Bacharov knocks down that puck along the wall, and Bacharov still with it. And the puck bouncing around in the Swedish zone. Wahlstrom finally brings it ahead. Wahlstrom around Orlov. In he comes. Wahlstrom with a shot. That got blocked. Stepping in front of that was Zurichev, and now Orlov back the other way. Dmitry Orlov. Bouncing puck again in front. Orlov shoots. That goes high and wide. Bouncing puck way up in the air, and Wahlstrom with it. And the puck goes into the Russian bench with 11:48 to go in the third.
Closed captioning is brought to you by The Home Depot, proud to support more than 50 hockey teams in communities across Canada.
Darkness falls on Buffalo. After this, there are 3 games left at the World Junior. The second semifinal, the bronze medal game, and the gold medal game on the medal side. On the relegation side, there's 2 games today, but the relegation is over. The Czechs and the Slovaks have survived. Germany and Norway will go down. Denmark and Latvia are promoted next year for the tournament in Edmonton and Calgary. Yarncroc intercepts that pass and sends it down to the Russian zone. And here's Adam Larson with it. Larson, big, rangy, right-handed shooting defenseman. They don't come along every day. Stearman kept the puck at the line, sends it in front, knocked down by Bergikov. He can't clear it out. And now Kitson has to swing back. Pivzakin. And Kalinin knocks it down. Leonard will take a look and sweep that across. Put Larson in a bit of a bad spot, but he swept that away. Stearman jumping in, trying to get around Berezin. Now plays that to an open corner. Andrei Sergeyev with it. Kitson chips it out. Thorodin, long lead pass, looking over to Dverichensky. And Dverichensky with it. And the icing was waved off there. Dverichensky was racing to the puck. Raquel stepped right around Kitson. And now Raquel works his way in. He's shoved down. A collision at center ice as Jesper Fast collided hard with Berezin. Bodies flying everywhere. And now play call with 10:37 to go. And we remind you that our pregame coverage starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Give us a wave, Sean. Thanks, buddy. Try to take your hands off the camera, bud. Pregame at 7, puck drop at 7:30. Winner of that game gets the winner of this game. The Swedes have not won the gold medal at the World Junior since 1981. Hard to believe it's been that long. even harder to believe that it was a stretch from 97 to 07 where they went 11 straight years without winning a medal. The low point for the Swedes, Halifax in 03, 8. Celine for Freeberg. Lander looking for it. It's backhanded out by Bocharov. Panarin works his way, and in comes Panarin with a chance. Lander down. Panarin couldn't get the wraparound to go. And now Golubov back for it. Rossi goes to Urachev. Urachev fires that down. Boy, it seems like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that Urachev scored that first goal against Canada on Boxing Day. And that's the one thing about the World Junior. By the end, you can't remember the beginning. Good point. No wonder the players go back to their teams completely wrung out. Wanstrom played that down to the Russian zone. Urachev with it. Past the midway point of the third period. This game's got overtime written all over it, doesn't it? In comes Lindbergh, and Wanstrom sweeps that to an open wing. Orlov on it. Orlov peels back as Wanstrom comes in on him, and Orlov rides him off the puck. Flipped out to center ice, and John Klingberg with it. Swedes are changing as Klingberg winds his way in. And Urachev takes that away. Wanstrom sends it in front. Here's Tornberg with a shot, and that's knocked away by Chicken way up in the air and down below the goal line. Johan Sundstrom spins back in the corner. Sundstrom works his way in front. He shoots, bouncing puck, Chicken down. It went just wide. John Klingberg down for Tornberg. Now the Swedes applying more pressure, out shooting the Russians 39-28. Johan Sundstrom sent flying. Raquel in for it. Kalinin kicks out ahead for Savchenko. The Russians desperately need a change. Savchenko gains center ice and fires it down.
Since the start of the second period, the shots are 25-14 in favor of Sweden, so maybe fatigue is starting to kick in for the Russians, who had to play a late game last night, and the Swedes are getting better as we go along here.
Jesper Fast, great move around Kuznetsov. Drops it back. Jaren Krok looking for Fast. Johan Larsson lost it. Kuznetsov to the line, and the puck bounced back in, and it's offside. And we're back to Buffalo in a 2-2 game after this. Dmitry Shikin with the minimalist mask, while Robin Leonard wears his Ottawa Senators attire. Spent nearly a month in Ottawa as the backup after Pascal Leclerc got hurt. Played 34 minutes up there. An up and down year in Binghamton of the American League.
Hard league to get used to coming out of junior.
Jesper Fast works his way around. Shikin down. Fast can't get a shot away. Now winds his way back the other way. In comes Fast with it. Now Tim Eriksson down low. He works his way in front. Spins and shoots. Blocked by Beresin. Eriksson fell but reached out and knocked that puck ahead. And as he did, they'll call a hand pass against Eriksson.
If he doesn't make this play with his glove, this is a 2-on-1 for the Russians. Bertasov and Durevchevsky were going to be off to the races. You'll see him, he's on his backside, and when he goes down, that puck comes up. That was going to be a 2-on-1. That's a good play by Eriksson.
Skellefteå, by the way, in the north of Sweden, as you mentioned, in third place in the Swedish Elite League, which is something of a surprise. Not as big a surprise as the fact that Modo, the perennial powerhouse, is right now in the relegation zone for the Swedes.
New president Modo, Marcus Naslund.
Here comes Lander with a shot that goes up over the glass and out of play. The Swedes have the best relegation system. The second level league is the Allsvenskan. So what happens is the bottom two teams in the Elite League play the top two teams in the Allsvenskan in a playoffs round, and the top two teams in that series advance. The difference? Television money. Every team in the Elite League gets $3 million Canadian in television money. Teams in the Allsvenskan get about $100,000. Here's Tornberg with it. Imagine if the bottom two teams in the NHL had to play the top two teams in the AHL to stay in the NHL next year.
There'd be a lot of coaches and GMs nervous.
John Klingberg sends it ahead. Raquel can't find it, and as he misfired in the puck, it's offside. 6:47 to go in a third period that has turned very tense.
Well, everybody knows what's at stake on both sides, and obviously you really thought that the Swedes were going to push the pace more and the Russians were going to be the fatigued team, and maybe that is starting to kick in, so they're backing off a little bit, trying to protect their defensemen.
We haven't seen much of Zaitsev since the middle of the second period. Again, he suffered a hand injury early in the tournament and has played very sparingly. Yarncroc gains center ice, winds his way ahead. Takes the return pass from Lander. Calle Yarncroc shoots, he just missed high. Back it comes to Adam Larsson. His shot goes wide as well. And Panarin with it. Kitson calling for the puck and gets it. Looking for Kuznetsov in front. Russians are changing their D. Pivzakin works ahead. That's knocked away. Johan Larsson with it, but the Swedes need a change. Larsson up ahead for Fast. In comes Jesper Fast. Loose in front. Gets a shot away, and Shikin hands onto that.
There's some live legs against some fatigued Russian defenders. And you called Jesper fast. He is extremely quick. A New York Rangers 6th-round pick. Plays for HV 71 in Jönköping. He comes in all alone almost on Dmitry Shikin. He's elusive. He's got good puck control. He just fans on it. Doesn't get a lot of good wood on it.
As an 18-year-old, Fast actually got some games with HV 71, which won the Swedish Elite League title last year.
That's where Matthias Tedenby played. Tedenby, I should say.
And a potential host city for the 2014 World Junior, which will be in Sweden.
That'd be good in the lake country there in the central part of Sweden. Linköping, Jönköping, beautiful parts of Sweden.
Next year tournament in Calgary and Edmonton. The year after that in Russia. Voronin sends that for Dvoratinsky. Who's going to break this thing open?
There's enough skill on both sides to break it open.
Harrison steps up, and we see another late flurry from Kuznetsov, who last night has 2 goals and an assist, figuring the scoring of the last 3 Russian goals. The one that put them in 1, the tying goal, and the winner in overtime. Lifted high in the air, and it bounces down to Andrei Sergeyev. Macharov lost the puck. John Klingberg works in, backhand shot. And Shikin makes the save on that. Macharov couldn't clear it out, now does. And Klaus Dahlbeck goes back. Dahlbeck for Oscar Lindberg. Back to Dahlbeck. Russians are changing. Raquel sends it ahead to Carl Klingberg. He's got Lindberg with him. Klingberg shoots right on. And Shikin makes the stop. Tonight's game story is brought to you by the G-Series, the makers of Gatorade. Fuels athletes before, during, and after performance. While Shikin has 40 saves in the game, Adam Larsson has a goal and an assist. And Tarasенko with a goal, and we've got him down for 5 scoring chances. Adam Larsson making an impression on the scouts here. Funny, last year he goes to the World Junior as an underage player. Right. When you go to the tournament as a 17-year-old, everyone raves about you. Then in your draft year, they pick out all your flaws. We've seen that year after year. Well, he can't do this, he can't do that. He's a 6'2", 200-pound, smooth-skating, right-handed defenseman playing in a men's league in Sweden.
They did that to Victor Hedman. They did that to Steven Stamkos.
Tarasenko walks in, just missed far side.
They did it to John Tavares.
Johan Larsson ahead of Yarncroc. Calle Yarncroc working in. Corrals that bouncing puck and plays it down for Fast. Savchenko takes that away from him. Balowiski streaking ahead, can't get him the puck. They go ahead to Orlov instead. And a penalty coming up to the Swedes. And it's
not. It's going to be Orlov's going to get it for a smash.
You're right, it is. Fast works away. And now Eriksson plays it there for Lindberg. And so the Swedes will get a late power play here in the 3rd period as Russia's best defenseman is going to go off for the slash.
Fans don't like it at all, especially at this time of the game. It's a courageous call to make. We talk about zero tolerance. There's a slash right into the hands of Larsson. Orlov comes down on the stick. Larsson loses a stick, and the hand goes up right away. I mean, there's no mistake about the official's call. He puts his hand up right away as soon as he sees the act and hears the noise. And Valery Bragin, not happy with the call. That's a tough call to make, but in a zero-tolerance game, Gord, it's probably the right call to make.
Adam Larsson scored the Swedes' power play goal to get them within a goal. Now with 3:52 left, the Swedes have the man advantage. They'll send out Celine, Lander, and Carl Klingberg up front. They've got Freeberg, the forward, playing defense on the left point along with Larson. And back he goes to Freeberg. Tries to chop that across. There's a Russian loose to Buraczynski. Couldn't find him. Lander with a shot goes off the leg. But Buraczynski was standing alone at center ice. Adam Larson lost it. And now Voronin comes in. That forces Lander out of his goal. Just squeezed that by Voronin. Lander back the other way with Klingberg and Freeberg. Sergeyev takes a whack at it. 90 seconds to go in this power play. Larson feeds it across. There's a shot. Celine! And the Swedes have the lead.
Patrick Celine, who did the damage to Canada, forcing overtime and eventually a shootout with a tying goal. He gets his fourth of the tournament, and this is a blast on the power play with lots of yellow sweaters in the slot for the Swedes. Carl Klingberg's there. You see the traffic from Klingberg, and Schicken doesn't see it till it goes past him. You see him waving his hands because he doesn't see the puck. Celine, the Nashville Predators pick, puts it behind Schicken and gives the Swedes a 3-2 lead. Watch the reaction with his hands. I couldn't see it. No, you couldn't.
What a turn of events. Orlov, the Russians' best defenseman, takes a slashing penalty about 170 feet from his own net. And the Swedes make them pay with their second power play goal of the hockey game. Yarncroc banks that ahead, and back goes Pivzakin. Lindberg feeds it back. A sloppy change in front of the Swedish bench there. And Bergikov works it ahead. Swedes last appeared in the gold medal game in 2009 in Ottawa. Last won the gold medal when the tournament was played in West Germany in 1981. 2.5 to go in the third. Urachev. Long lead pass. Finds Valowiski. In comes Semyon Valowiski. Orlov is late coming off the bench. They couldn't hit him with the pass. Now Tarasenko digs down low. Orlov sends it in front, and Lander steers that away. And a chance now for Freeberg. He's got Celine with him. Freeberg works his way in. Walks in front. Freeberg. Poke check there by Schicken. And then Freeberg fell. Orlov ahead. Dmitry Orlov winds and fires off the stick of Larson and wide. Tarasenko with it. Tarasenko battling. And it's flipped ahead by Lander. Urachev at the end of a long shift has to go back. And look out. Diving into the inboards was Jesper Fast. Schicken lost his stick. He's shaken up. And meanwhile, the puck moved ahead to the Swedish zone. Kitson with it. Schicken is just now picking up his goal stick. In the meantime, Orlov has the puck. Backhand shot. Loose in front. Lander got it. Sergei Kalinin ties it up with 1:27 to go.
Just when you think they're out of it, they're not out of it. And it's a turnover by Calle Jarnkrok. He can't get the puck up and out of the zone, and then it's just a mad rush to the front of Robin Leonard. And finally, the stick comes in, and it's a finish for Sergei Kalinin. Watch 21 in red right there, jam it past Robin Leonard to tie it up at 3 with 1:27 to go. This has been a very strange game, Gordon.
It has. And it's not over yet. So euphoria for the Swedes on the power play goal. The Russians tired, starting to sag. Bit of a train wreck in front of the Swedish goal, and they get the tying marker with 1.5 minutes to go. Once again, if overtime's necessary, it's 10 minutes, 4-on-4. There's icing waved off as the Swedes shot it in. And then if necessary, a shootout. Kuznetsov banks it in. Back goes Raquel for it. Final minute of the third period. Patrick Celine thought he'd given the Swedes their ticket to the gold medal game. And now Freeberg with it. Kuznetsov jumps ahead. He's got Tarasenko with him. And Kuznetsov was almost in alone. Freeberg has a look ahead for Lander. Lander with a shot, and Chicken hangs on to that. We're going to face off in the Russian zone with 30 seconds to go in the third.
Well, we are in overtime now. No question about it. When you look at it, for Roger Ronberg, he had to reel in a 2-0 deficit, and he was able to do that. Now they're tied. You look at the Russian bench for Valeria Bragina, who's been here before, much like Ronberg as an assistant, not as a head coach. Both guys have done a nice job keeping their composure in this game. That's had a lot of strange bounces and up and downs.
Just another day at the World Junior Hockey Championship. Stearman long shot, that deflected just wide. And now Adam Larson with it. Fires it ahead, bounce in the corner. Zakin had to be careful with that tennis ball as it bounced down in the corner. Berdyakov for Kuznetsov. 10 seconds to go in the third period. Kuznetsov drops it back. Pivzakin feeds it ahead. Savchenko winds and fires off a leg and wide. Time for one more shot. No, Adam Larson has it. And the Swedes and the Russians are going to overtime to determine who goes to the gold medal game on Wednesday. We're back right after this. So here's the overtime procedure for the medal round in the quarters and semis. It's a 10-minute sudden death overtime and then a shootout. If the gold medal game goes to an overtime, it's 20 minutes. It's a full flood and an intermission. And of course, in any case, if nothing scored in OT, off you go to a shootout.
Well, it helps if you've got some skill in situations like this. And Evgeny Kuznetsov, who took over the Finland game last night, scored in overtime. Rolling puck on end, up and over Jani Ortio. And that gave him a little chance to do a swan dive.
And of course, go back to the round-robin portion of the tournament, and Sweden beat Canada in a shootout after a 5-minute overtime.
With Anton Lander doing the last little nail in the coffin for Canada.
And the worst part of this is the team that loses has to come back and play in the bronze medal game. That is tough.
What's the solution to that? Just award 2 bronze medals?
Or just place the teams if you wanted to, I suppose. But bronze medal games are very much a part of international tradition.
And for some of the countries that don't have the population or the masses, Finland's a perfect example.
We saw the Slovaks win a bronze medal in '99 in Winnipeg. What a joyous occasion that was. We've seen the Finns do it, the Swiss.
The Finns in their home country, remember that in Helsinki in '04? That was awesome.
But right now, gold is on the minds of the Swedes and the Russians as we're into overtime now in the semifinal game, and Savchenko intercepts and feeds that in front. And in a game decided by strange bounces and some odd caroms, will that be the case in OT? Stearman for Nemeth. Prior to this game, they had not been on the ice for an even strength goal against, but they were on for the first one by the Russians. And Kuznetsov has it. Lots of room for Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Lander squeezes him. Kалинин gave the puck away. Lander ahead to Celine. In he comes on Berezin. Celine loves to take people wide. Now he falls, and Berezin steps up. For Kuznetsov. Trying to get around Lander, and the puck is played back down to the Russian zone.
Celine likes to attack the other side of the ice. He's a right-hand shot, but he likes to attack down his own left side.
Here's Kuznetsov with it. Chips that by Lander, who's staying with him step for step. And Maxim Kitson works in. Here comes Kitson with a chance. Feeds that to the side of the goal. And Lander plays that away. Freeberg back the other way for Sweden. In comes Freeberg. Drops it back. Larson in. Fans on the shot. And Johan Larson plays it in deep for Freeberg. Kuznetsov still out there. Fell. Adam Larson softly sends it down, and Chicken had to be careful with that little off-speed shot. And Kuznetsov needing a change. Didn't get the puck deep. Freeberg works in. Johan Larson peels it back in front. Shoots, and a glove save by Dmitry Chicken.
Johan Larson's a second-round pick of the Minnesota Wilds. Plays for Brinus, which is in Javala. He comes in and just snaps his. Freeberg gives him the puck. He just snaps it right off, and Chicken shuts it down. The puck was going wide, but Chicken wants to slow things down. He knows his team's tired. See how long it's taken for the Russians to make changes. Now the officials are going to come over and talk to their bench. I can understand it, the quick turnaround for the Russians, plus the fact they played a very emotional game late last night against the Finns. You can understand why they'd be taking their time on the changes.
Lindberg steps in for the face-off against Kitson, and Lindberg wins it cleanly back for John Klingberg. That's stolen away by Kitson, and Maxim Kitson takes that away. In he comes. Kitson waiting for help to arrive. Peels back and feeds it back. And that shot by Ignatovic is blocked. Now a chance down low. Golubov shoots. Linder makes the save on him. And Dahlbeck with it. Golubov heading off the ice. Dahlbeck for Raquel. Raquel in across the line. 1-on-4 as Raquel shoots. Just missed top corner. Tim Eriksson slaps the puck down for Järnkrok. Kalle Järnkrok peels back behind the goal. Järnkrok works back on the front, shoots. Shikin knocks it away. It bounces down in front, picked up by Zaitsev. We haven't seen Zaitsev for nearly an hour. Back out there now and plays the puck ahead.
Well, they're running out of bodies. That's the problem.
Nemeth plays it down to Järnkrok. He spins back. Jumping in is Eriksson from the point. Järnkrok feeds it across. Eriksson couldn't find it. Tarasenko has it. For Savchenko. Moving in as the Russians change, and it rolls down to Nemeth. Savchenko watching him. But Nemeth does that by Tarasenko. Now played back in, and Tarasenko with it. He and Eriksson collide. And Nemeth has it for the Swedes. 7 minutes to go in overtime. Lander picks his way across the line. In comes Lander, stops and shoots. That was blocked. As Ignatovic stepped in front of that. Larson for Lander. Russians complete a change, and Lander plays it ahead for Celine. In comes Celine, works his way in front. Celine shoots. He just missed the top corner. Great action in overtime. And now Kalinin back the other way with Kuznetsov. In comes Kalinin. Works his way in front and gets pounded into the end boards by Adam Larson. Bergikov across to Bibzakin. Through the middle of Kuznetsov. And away comes Kuznetsov. Feeds it ahead of Bibzakin. The Russians are again changing. Bibzakin up in there with Adam Larson. And Larson peels back.
This has been Larson's best game of the tournament. He's been a dominant force for the Swedes.
And feeds it ahead to Johan Larson. In he comes. Johan Larson shoots. Shikin kicks that away. And Maxim Kitson plays the puck in the corner. Bob McKenzie, by the way, reported that Kitson is heading for Mississauga of the Ontario Hockey League when this tournament ends. The paperwork's almost done. And they'll be heading to Dave Cameron's team, which is hosting the Memorial Cup.
Good news for the Mississauga St. Mike's team and for Dave Cameron, as you said, and also for the Ontario Hockey League. He's a very good player.
5.5 to go in OT. The Russians being outshot 48-31 by the Swedes. Now the bouncing puck to Tarasenko. In he comes. Tarasenko works his way in front. And Nemeth took the puck away from him. Tarasenko sent flying. That was close. Carl Klingberg back the other way. Klingberg with Raquel. Carl Klingberg peels back. No one in front. Klingberg got buried in the corner. Now falls on the puck. We got a face-off in the Russian zone.
And the reason why we're here, Gord, is because of two late goals. First, it's Celine on the power play through a maze of players. Shikin didn't like it, but it was a good goal. And then we have a great goal by Sergei Kалинин, 21 in red. Doesn't stay to the outside. He just hammers that rebound right past Robin Leonard. And that's why we're 3-3.
Kuznetsov against Lander for the face-off. Lander wins it back to Adam Larson. Feeds it back in front, and Celine couldn't pull the trigger. Celine spins off Zaitsev, and Zaitsev got to stick it on Celine. Now Zaitsev, long lead pass for Kalinin. German takes that away and feeds it back down to the Russian zone, and now Celine takes it away from Ignatovic. Ignatovic hammered Celine into the end board. That pass was in behind Kalinin, and the Swedes will regroup. Adam Larson steps away from Kuznetsov. Larson peels back. The Swedes complete their change. 4.5 to go in OT. And Larson flips it in. Orlov got spun around in the corner. Back it goes to Eriksson. Feeds it across. Nemeth, a long shot. Knocked down in front. Johan Larson had the puck on his stick but couldn't pull the trigger. Urachev took it away from him. Now Kitson back with it. Flips it ahead for Golubov. And Golubov plays that to an open corner. Kitson with it. Feeds it back to Urachev. Looking down to Golubov. Nemitz on him. Tornberg with it. Tries to slide that ahead. The pass was disrupted by Golubov. And now Tornberg with it. Tap that back. Some miscommunication in front of the Swedish bench. Lead pass for Lindberg. Oscar Lindberg. Taken away by Voronin. He finds Dverichinsky. And Dverichinsky muscled off the puck by Carl Klingberg. Adam Larsson. Back to Stearman. Loves to lead the rush, and here he comes. Stearman winds and fires. It goes off the leg of Bergikov. Berezin plays it ahead for Voronin. He goes for Bernisov. That's knocked away. And now flipped ahead by Stearman. Sergeyev to Berezin. And they'll flip that up in the air. The Russians need a change, and now Berezin will head off. Now decides to stay on. The Russians almost had too many men. John Klingberg peels back. 2:45 to go in OT. Playing for a shootout here. Lead pass for Fast. Up ahead for Yarncroc. Kalle Yarncroc works in. Drops it back. Long shot. Klaus Dahlberg turned away. And now Kuznetsov with it. Here comes Kuznetsov. And Kenny Kuznetsov works in, and John Klingberg stayed with him. Anton Lander with it. Lander, as his line mates are changing, shovels that in with one hand, and Kitson goes back. And Kitson pulls the puck out and works his way ahead. 2 to go in overtime. Kitson centers it. Golubov back for Kitson. The pass is in behind him. Ignatovic feeds it across. Zaitsev shoots. He put it just wide. Ignatovic into the corner. Golubov. Now falling is Johan Larsson. Tarasenko was on him. Freeberg with it. Max Freeberg plays it across. Intercepted by Tarasenko. To Savchenko. He pokes it by Adam Larsson, but Larsson reaches back and takes it away. Plays onside. Tarasenko with a rolling puck, and Johan Larsson stepped in front of him. Adam Larsson with it. In across the line. Larsson tries a head fake on Urachev. Orlov with it. Larsson steps into him. Kalinin tries to kick it ahead. Final minute now of overtime. Dahlbeck lifts that up in the air and down to the Russian zone. Urachev with it. Just biding his time. Long pass for Kalinin. Chips that down to the Swedish zone as the Russians make their change. Here's Eriksson back for it. Tim Eriksson up for Klingberg. And Carl Klingberg. In he comes. Klingberg sweeping in. There, the last moment by Bergikov. Klingberg back on it. 20 seconds to go in the period. And we're going to face off in the Russian zone with 17 seconds to go. And meantime, outside, Canadian fans await their turn to enter the building. Our pregame coverage starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Don't worry, we'll tell you who won. And the Swedes have called a timeout, as Ronberg wants to talk it over with 17 seconds left in the OT. In the shootout against Canada, Lindberg and Lander scored for the Swedes. Lander stopped both Canadian shots he faced. It's 3 rounds. And remember, after that, you can use anyone you want any number of times.
Jonathan Taves.
The Russians could put Kuznetsov over and over and over again if they wanted. The Swedes could put Lander in. interesting variation on the shootout rule. But right now, we still got 17 seconds to go in the overtime. Johan Larsson, top Swedish face-off man. Trying to pull that back to Järnkrok. He does. It goes back to Eriksson. He shoots just missed high. The crowd buzzing about that as the puck goes ahead. Hitson shovels it down. Final seconds. Eriksson has a look. Pounds it down. Chicken gloves it. And this game is going to a shootout. We'll step aside and bring it to you. This semifinal even after 3 periods and an OT. The shootout is next. So just to refresh you on the shootout procedure in the IHF, 3 shooters from each team. If it's not decided then, it goes to a single round. They reverse the order after the 3rd shot. So if the Swedes go first after 3 shots, then the Russians go first. And after the 3rd round, the same or new players can be used. You can use the same player each time if you want. And remember, Jonathan Toews and Leksand, the shootout against the United States, scored 3 goals 3 different ways in the shootout.
He certainly did. From Friday against Canada, Oscar Lindberg, Anton Lander, Olivier Roy can't get it done, and Canada was forced to play a quarterfinal game. You talked about Canada using Jonathan Toews. Well, against the United States in Leksand, Sweden, how about the United States always using Peter Mueller?
And Patrick Kane. And Jack Johnson, actually. They alternated those 3 guys. And, you know, that was the first year they used that format in the IHF, and there was a lot of confusion about how it would work. And think back to Leksand in 07. Jonathan Toews with 3 goals on 3 different shots, and then this by Mueller wins it. Patrick Kane will always tell you that he scored on Carey Price. The puck was under his pads. There was no definitive look that showed the puck in the net.
I've talked to Carey Price about it. He said he didn't score on me.
Really shocking.
So everybody's got their own vision of things. But this has been a great game because both goaltenders have been exceptional. I think you would agree with that, Gordon. And both teams have played with a lot of heart.
Now Lehner on the Swedish bench. Yeah. It'll be Dmitry Shikin, the 19-year-old who plays for SK St. Petersburg. Sweden will go first. And they're going to go with Lindberg, who shot first against Canada. And they'll give Shikin his instructions. Interesting approach by Lindberg, who just starts at the center ice line, and in comes Lindberg. On Shikin, backhand shot is stopped.
I know that he's Russian, but Shikin reminds me of Dominik Hasek in terms of what he does. He just roly-poly all over the place, stick in the air, body across the crease. Unorthodox, but getting it done.
And now Tarasenko wastes no time. Vladimir Tarasenko in, waits, and Leonard gets him.
Leonard did a nice job not biting on the first fake, and you watch his push-off with his left foot. He just stays right with Vladimir Tarasenko. Just that little move, Leonard never bought on it, and he pushed off and was able to come across the crease.
Now Sebastian Wanström, who did not shoot against Canada. Wanström in, stopped.
Kind of a 5-0, huh, Gord? Maybe thinking Shikin was going to open up, but Shikin shut it right down. Wanström doesn't have a lot of speed to the very end, and then Shikin just closes that 5-hole down.
Lehner would be used to shootouts from his days in the OHL and the American League, and now Golubov works in. No one scored yet. Golubov in, score! Dennis Golubov.
Right at the last second, he gets Leonard open up right there. That opened him up, that little feint on the puck. Opens him up, that's nice.
Lander has to score now to extend it. Anton Lander works in, hits a post, and the Russians have beaten the Swedes. Russia will go to the gold medal game, and the disheartened Swedes will play for bronze. They were just over 3 minutes away from elimination, but the Russians have won it. they'll play in the gold medal game for the first time since 2007 when they beat the Swedes in the semifinals that year as well.
This is a miracle moment for this team. They were written off after they lost their first 2 games of this tournament, 6-3 to Canada, 2-0 to Sweden. You see the jubilation of the Russians, and look at the disheartened Swedes on their bench. I have never seen their team so disheartened. Not even when they lost in 09 to Canada, not when they lost in 08 in Pardubice to Canada. That's the most disappointing I've seen the Swedish team. They really felt they were the favorites going into this tournament. And you'll see Anton Lander come in and ring one off the post by Dmitry Shikin. And that's the end of the tournament in terms of the gold medal possibilities for the Swedes because of Lander rifling one off the post.
And Lander disconsolate sitting against the boards. Pipe and out.
Well, they knew what the huge thing was in this game. They didn't get the start they needed. The Swedes weren't good enough off the start. The Russians were really opportunistic. Shikin was awesome when he had to be. And look at that bit. That's a great reaction. Love to see that.
Shikin wasn't even the Russian starting goaltender when the tournament began. He was the backup to Igor Bobkov. But Bobkov played poorly against Canada. It's been Shikin all the way since. The Russians will play for gold on Wednesday. The Swedes will have to settle for bronze.